you're only as good as your last recommendation. And I think, if you start to send brands or tag brands strategically and just say like, I've been sharing this regularly, I think it's a great way to build a relationship. The other thing too, that I would say from like newer creators or creators that are looking to establish relationships with brands or are just starting to charge. So even if you take that $50 for the 2-story frames, do more down the line, like go above and beyond, because my goal too is I always want to sell more product than what they paid me because I want to be signed again. So I think I really try to have the longest tail possible on relationships. And I'm really proud of the brands that I've worked with for 5+ years, like LaFleur. Our relationship just continues to evolve in the way that we work together, and it's become a real true collaboration. These brands that, consistently come back to me, whether it's every quarter, twice a year, annually, those are like my favorite because I know that I sold enough product that they want to continue work with me. They see the value in my audience and they understand that my audience values my recommendations. So I actually add a line item now onto my invoices for the additional organic posts that I've done that I didn't charge them for. It was above and beyond the contracted deliverables, whether that's a blog post inclusion, whether that's an additional story, whatever it may be in my content ecosystem. I started doing this a couple years ago because I wanted brands to recognize like, yes, you contracted me and paid me for XYZ, but I also did ABC because I want to drive the sales. I want to be a good partner and I want to over deliver. This content creator industry only keeps getting bigger every day that we wake up. There's more creators that have woken up and decided today is the day.
Yeah.
And so like I'm one of millions that these brands can choose from. I'm so hyper aware of that. And so I really do not take it for granted any partnership that I get because I know it could be the last and I hope it's not. And I hope I get to continue to work with great partners. But I really want to be the one that at the end of the year, when they're like, who are the best performers? They have like data, they can see the numbers. I want to deliver. And if I don't have the analytics on my side, I ask my manager to get the analytics from their side. Because if I haven't sold enough, then I'm going to do organic posts because I believe in the product enough that I took the partnership. So I'm going to recommend it again. I'm going to figure out where else it can fit in content in the future so that when they look at their budgets for the following year, they can be like, oh, Meghan actually went above and beyond and like she continues to deliver. She's still talking about us like 6 months after we paid her. Yeah. I want to be that person on the list of the thousands of people that they can consider, the millions of people that they can consider as they assess their budgets for the next year.
That is brilliant. And I will just especially adding it as a line item to the invoice. I love that because, influencer marketing teams can also be under-resourced and maybe they didn't capture every additional organic mention of the brand. And I do remember, most recently being at Shiseido, being at NARS, whenever a creator went above and beyond in a partnership that we were doing, it made me look so good internally. And in the same way that as, an executive or a manager, I always want to make my boss look good internally. When you're a creator partnering with a brand you care about that you want to nurture a relationship with, you also want to make that, head of influencer marketing or, head of communications look really good internally.
For sure. For sure. Yeah. And I remember that from my PR days. Absolutely. Cause there's so much we know how much reporting goes on the behind the scenes for brands and the agency side. And so I want to be one of those creators that rises to the top. And I'm not every single time I've taken on certain things where I've been sold less than I thought. And that's the nature of this business. It's the nature of economic uncertainty. It's the nature of when Prime Day is happening in Nordstrom sale and everyone has a million places to choose from where their last click is. And so it's going to continue to be competitive from that standpoint. But I do really try to think of these partnerships as like long tails versus just like, took the check. That was good. I'm so glad I got to say I worked with them. My manager would tell you, I consistently am telling her these are the brands I want to work with again. I really, truly am so specific and curated in the ones that I say yes to. And I would rather talk about the same 7 brands over and over again than work with 50 brands in a year personally.
I really love that too. And I think that there's a good lesson there for creators maybe, and especially young creators who are just starting out, have a list of brands that you dream of working with and think about ways to build those relationships, to nurture those relationships, potentially through some organic content. I think there's real value there.
Yes. And I think it's a tracking thing too. Like I will say I started to make more money and I started to be better at my job when I did dive into the analytics of things. And that
Hmm.
means everything from, revenue and where my money is coming from in different streams, but also like things like a dream brands list. Like I started that a couple of years ago and it's broken into two categories: never worked with before, want to work with again, because the
Hmm.
want to work to get with again are probably more important to me than the never worked with before. But I also am a big believer in manifestation and just like putting into the universe what you want to achieve. But as soon as I started doing that too, then I would be like, hey, I haven't heard from this brand in a while. And like, I saw that they just launched this and I would have been a perfect fit for that. And I would like to even just test it because maybe it's
Hmm.
great. And I want to talk about it organically in content in the future. Or if it's a beauty brand and it goes on sale at Sephora, I want to be able to talk about it and have used it. And I think that's something too. I really prioritize products that I have used in terms of what I talk about and have tested, because I think you're always going to sell more of what you can speak to from a organic perspective versus just talking about what everyone else is talking about.